Hello, welcome back to another episode of John the PM, where we believe that managing projects is not just a job, but a way of life. Today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about self compassion. Oh, wow. You're probably asking yourself, John, why are you talking about self compassion? Project managers, like all project managers are supposed to be, type A individuals driving in, try and get the job done, close the project, all those areas. You know what? That is an absolutely true statement. Okay. However, at some points in time, you do need to take care of yourself so that you can take care of others, mainly your team, the project, the product, your stakeholders, but it does kind of begin with you. I talk to a lot of different individuals, a lot of project managers, project leaders, organizational change managers, transformational agents, the whole litany, so my sphere is rather broad, in that regards in a number of different industries. And, occasionally I run across the individual that just beats themselves up. And the problem is that they beat themselves up so well that they can't function. And therefore, that becomes a problem. What it kind of comes down to is self compassion. In other words, having compassion for yourself. The general rule of thumb that I like to use, and again, I always just say it from my point of view. One to kind of make it real and kind of understandable because I face the same issues as well. But then I also expect you to adapt it to you. Okay, so I'm just saying it from my point of view. But a general rule of thumb is if you give somebody else a pass, then give yourself a pass. Now, having said that, that does not mean that you do not hold yourself accountable. That does not mean that you don't hold other people accountable. I am all for accountability. There is no question if and or buts about that, in that regards. However, if I would not be dogmatic on an issue with this person, with another person, I should give myself the same grace on that. We all have bad days. Sometimes I come up and I make a what I call a silly mistake. It's like, geez, I got that calendar invite wrong again. So I'll make a classic rookie mistake. That's what I call it. And sometimes I'll just beat myself up. Like, John, man, you know better than that. You can, shape up and all these other things. And then I'll kind of beat myself into such a pulp there that, you can't really even function. Well, guess what? Other individuals do the same thing. But what I have to kind of step back and talk to myself in the third person. If somebody else had made that same mistake, they sent out a calendar invite and it was the wrong date or something of that nature, I would just simply, let the person know in private, hey, you got the wrong date up there, and just like let it go, on that side. Same thing. Hey, I recognize I made a mistake. I own it. I do believe in ownership, accountability. I own it. I did it, and I'll go and try and fix it without a lot of drama, associated with it. Everybody makes mistakes. Now, again, don't take the arguments too far. Some things, you really do need to kind of like hold yourself like truly accountable. But again, the general rule of thumb is what would you do if somebody else made the same mistake? And I think that's a good rule to kind of follow on. Again, hopefully you find that of value. Try to practice self compassion on yourself. They treat yourself as you would treat others. If you're not going to, put the hammer in on somebody on a small issue, don't do the same to you. On the other hand, if you are going to put the hammer on somebody, yeah, you should probably hold yourself accountable. But at the same time, when you're holding your team members accountable, you just want them to recognize what went wrong and how can we fix it, and you want them to fix it and move on. The same thing for internally, meaning to yourself. You acknowledge what the problem is, you figure out a game plan, and you fix it. And if you need help, you raise your hand, on that side and say, hey, I need help. Again, treat yourself as you would treat others. Kind of the inverse of that golden rule, just as a matter of fact. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of John the PM. Again, if you liked it, please hit the like button or the subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. It helps us to be of service. And in the meantime, just remember, we do not believe that managing projects is a job, but it is a way of life.